Franny Fio, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, and also on Twitch, Franny Fio.
Awesome, everyone check it out. Check out our members' content coming out later on today. For now though, stay safe out there, stay sane out there, and we'll see you soon.
Welcome. It's indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Richey. Good to be with you. We have a lot on the agenda today, breaking down news of the day. None other than my brother from another mother, Ricky Smiley, actor, comedian, author, and host of the Ricky Smiley Morning Show. Always fascinating to have his analysis. Top story of the day. The killing of Sonya Massey has been obviously at the forefront of the news commentary. Updates reveal that the officer was more than problematic, had a troubled history, should have been arrested previously, but was allowed to continue to be a cop. We now have other cops who have decided to opine on this cop. And we have more information about what happened to Miss Massey before these cops did what they did. She actually had a mental health call or crisis the day before. Now, there's video showing she never had a pot in her hand at all. I'm going to remind you of the original incident as reported. Here it is.
Massey starts to set down the pot and apologizes. Grayson fires 3 times, striking her in the face.
Headshot wounded female, 1078.
Prosecutors say Grayson's partner tried to give the 36-year-old first aid, even though Grayson discouraged him.
I'm gonna go get my kit. No, you're done. You can go get it, but that's a headshot.
He discourages his partner from getting the kit per protocol. You see, the cop has already significantly violated protocol by killing a woman who posed no threat. Now, we're going to show you the video that highlights what really happened. Here it is.
She grabs the silver pot with red and white cooking mittens. The pot. Her hands are in the air.
As you can see, the pot is on the stove. The mittens are in her hand. She squats down in fear of her life. There's more. Sean Grayson, the cop who did this, calls Miss Sonya Massey the crazy B word. Here it is.
That she was going to rebuke me in the name of Jesus and came out with boiling water. That's what all this is. I was standing right here.
All right.
And that's where he's landed.
What do you all need from us?
Just nothing right now. Just hang out there for me. Thank you.
I need cranes and put them around the house if you guys can. But other than that, that's I think it.
Anything else suspect?
Me?
I didn't know what happened.
You got any questions?
Yeah, I'm good. Bitch is crazy.
Who's got tape?
I think I got a roll.
I got some coming up. Get something up.
You got enough? If not, I got a roll.
The silence of his fellow police officers is very telling. The silence of the initial investigator is very telling. The lies that he decided to tell is very telling. There was no boiling water being launched at him. He was not in fear of his life. There was no active threat. As a matter of fact, he maneuvered from around the barrier in order to get a better shot. What made him upset? When she said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," all of a sudden, everything inside of him changes. Now, I think as a spiritual man, she was well aware that the devil was in her house. And what that devil did, he literally said, "I'm going to do this to you," and proceeded to do so without her posing a threat at all. Now, there are police officers who have gone on record. They have decided to risk their lives and livelihood to tell you the truth. Here's one of them.
Hi, white woman cop here. I just want to talk about Sonya Massey. I've been in law enforcement 7 years, and I have seen a lot of... And I'm telling you right now, that video of that officer unaliving that poor woman is disgusting. As a cop, I am completely disgusted with not only my duty and my profession right now, but all my other law enforcement officers who are refusing to speak out against this. I mean, this goes beyond a law enforcement. This goes to a humanity factor. This officer went into the situation wanting to kill someone. Why are there not more officers speaking out against this? That is not what I signed up to do this job for. And any cop that does not speak out against this is just as guilty. In fact, we should be the first ones speaking out against our own people that are doing this stuff. This is murder. Yeah, it's murder. When I signed up to be a law enforcement officer, it was to protect and serve my community. It was to get to know my community. It was to help my community, to better my community, to make sure my people were safe. That's why I signed up. So you're telling me right now that a pot of boiling water is a threat to you? That's I cannot fathom. Because again, this wasn't about a woman with a pot, was it? This was a race-related issue. I'm absolutely disgusted. But I'm so sorry. Sonya Massey deserved better, and I will say her name. Justice for Sonya Massey. We failed you. As law enforcement, we absolutely failed you. We failed your family. We just failed. Some days I'm done. I'm done. I don't want to be a part of this system. Because I care about people and I want to help people. I do not want to harm anyone. And if you go into this profession with some idea of grandeur, like you want to be a hero, you don't need to be here. And now all the work that us good officers do to try to bring our community together to make them not fear us, well, guess what? It's all gone because of that. And I'm not going to say his name because I'm not going to make him famous. He's nobody. He's dirt underneath my boot.
To the officer that spoke up and the other officers who are speaking up, I commend you. To that officer, I highly encourage you, ma'am, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. That cop should have been arrested on the scene. His partner witnessed the murder.
Right there. Yeah.
Right there. Should have been arrested. Our dear brother, civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump, obviously on the scene, making the case. We do have some developments and some updates and some progress. Springfield, Illinois, Friday, civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump said he was made aware of 2 unsubstantiated allegations of excessive unnecessary force by the shooter of Miss Sonya Massey, former County Sheriff's Deputy Sean P. Grayson. Both allegations, Crump said, predated Grayson's employment in Springfield. Grayson, 30 years of age, who has now been charged with Massey's murder and fired by the department, worked for 5 different departments before coming aboard with the county May of 2023. Some of those departments refused to put on record why they let him go. There's more. Crump said that his legal team, representing the Massey family, have also talked with the U.S. Department of Justice. They've talked about Grayson. An investigation into the case was opened earlier this week. The listening session, as they call it, DOJ's Community Relations Service will host a community healing and listening session at Union Baptist Church, 1405 East Monroe Street. Now, this is open and free to the public. Sunday was declared a national day of mourning for Massey, with rallies in New York, Los Angeles, St. Louis, Washington, D.C. We had one right here in the city of Atlanta. The Reverend Al Sharpton, along with the Massey family members, will participate in a rally in Chicago on Tuesday. Crump confirmed this. Vice President Kamala Harris spoke with the Massey family in a phone call on Friday. Her office said, Crump said it may be possible that both persons who made allegations against Grayson could come forward. A lot of minorities in America don't come forward for many reasons, Crump said Friday. They don't call police for many reasons because things normally don't turn out good for us when we call the police. Quote, obviously, Sonya Massey is exhibit 1, end quote. Malachi Hill Massey, Massey's son, said Friday that Massey had an encounter with police over a mental health issue the day before the shooting. The day before the shooting. Jeff Wildheit, the county spokesperson, confirmed that at least one sheriff's deputy was at Massey's home on July 5th. It was neither one of the deputies who responded on the 6th, he added. Crump said Massey had driven herself to HSHS St. John's Hospital. Now, I want to pause here to explain why all of this is important. If a deputy is at the house the day before, that means she is in their 911 record database as a mental health call. That is possibly the reason why one of the deputies said, are you mentally okay? Upon entering the home, because they had at least that much information going into the home. So this deputy knew he was killing someone who was under mental disturbance. There's more. Crump said that the woman, Miss Massey, had to drive herself to HSHS St. John's Hospital seeking help, but had returned home later that day. Earlier in the week, at another press conference, a family member said Massey was paranoid, was schizophrenic, while Massey was dealing with mental health issues. Quote, she needed a helping hand, not a bullet to the face, Crump said. Grayson shot Massey, a 36-year-old black woman, beneath the left eye. An autopsy report released Friday by the county coroner's office revealed Massey was in her home in an unincorporated area of Woodside Township after making the 911 call about a possible prowler. The chaotic and sometimes gruesome video released to the public on Monday has caused international outrage. Crump said Massey's family did not know until 24 hours after her death that the person who shot her was a sheriff's deputy. Hill Massey learned in graphic detail about his mother, but police never told him who, Crump said. Other family members who showed up at Massey's house also weren't told about Grace's role in the shooting. Will Hite admitted, this is a spokesperson, he did not know when the family was told about Grayson. He said the sheriff's office requested that the state police initiate and handle an independent investigation before Massey was even declared dead. Per standard protocol, ISP will take over all aspects of the investigation, including identifying family and providing them with all the information they felt should be shared at the time. The spokesperson said, basically, they are pointing the finger. Now, the family, initially, they received information from the hospital that the wound, the shooting, the bullet was not self-inflicted. According to the original statement from the family, they were under the impression that it was a self-inflicted wound because the hospital or someone at the hospital or maybe in transport was told that. And then it went from that to the prowler possibly did this. And then later it was confirmed. The father said he found out on the internet that it was actually a cop who committed the alleged murder. So many twists and turns, significant cover-up, seemingly, and here we are. Ricky, hell of a thing. I know you've been talking about it, obviously. We feel the same. We know that this was a murder we saw in front of our eyes. What say you?
Yeah, I hope he get life in prison. I hope he get the death penalty. I hope the Department of Justice get involved and charge him with a hate crime. The fact that he called her names before and called her names after he knew she was dead, it's a shame. And he knew what he was doing. He knew it, and for him to call her the name that he called her, obviously she must have came up on the system. So he knew that she had mental health issues, and he threatened to shoot her in the head. And it was just so humane in the way he talked to her and how racist and nasty and condescending. And this is why we got to get out and vote, people. Yep. Because if they get rid of immunity, it would be no arrest. This is what Donald Trump is saying. He's going to let the police officers do their job. Had Trump been president and they get rid of, what is that right? The right word, immunity?
Yeah, so they have a level of immunity. He's saying he wants them to have all immunity, basically.
Exactly. So that means that this police officer would not have been arrested at all or ever charged or whatever. So at that point, cops can go out and kill whoever they want to kill. So that's why it's important to get out and vote. But I really hope this man get what's coming to him. And it's some other things that I would like to say, but I have respect for you and respect for your show, because the projects is in me right now.
Yeah.
The way, because I have a mother, I have a sister, and I have daughters.
That's right. That's right. Same here, dear brother. And obviously it makes our blood boil.
Yes.
But you're right about the voting, because if Trump were in charge, the Department of Justice does not get involved. The Department of Justice does not have a listening session with the community.
And the last thing I want to say, Dr. Richard, we need more police officers to speak up, because your silence is not helping anything. If you want the community to trust you, we need all police officers making video like that brave young woman did when she made a video calling out this man for what he did to Sonya Massey.
That's right, brother. Well said. And to the officers that are speaking out, those are the ones that have courage. Shooting somebody who's unarmed and bowing down and saying, I'm sorry, is not courage. The people who are speaking out in uniform, that's courage. All right, we'll bring updates as they come. One of the most intense situations you will ever see, a man is actively being pursued and assaulted while jumping in a taxi. He barely gets away with his life intact. Here it is.
Bro, the guy said that. TC? No problem, T. Thank you, see you then, yeah.
Try Martin, come on, family. You know what time it is,
yeah.
Make sure
Too late already, you know that, T. I'm going home now. Stay.
Ayo, that's it. Wallahi, 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 that's it. What?
Michael.
Uncle Jeff!
Can you go, my friend?
Uncle Jeff! Uncle Jeff! Uncle Jeff! Uncle Jeff! Drive, Uncle! Get the driver!
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Uncle Jeff!
God,
drive, Uncle, please!
Please! My car is everything broke, my friend. My friend, everything broke.
Uncle, drive fast, Uncle. Drive fast, Uncle.
My friend, everything, my car.
Uncle, drive fast. I'm gonna pay you, Uncle. Look, Uncle.
They're coming. You're going somewhere, my friend.
Hey, take money, Uncle. I'll give you money.
So he gives him money. What? Now he's calling him uncle. That's basically a term of endearment. But this is a taxi driver who took them to a particular location. They get out. Minutes later, one male is running back to the vehicle with stab wounds and actively being stabbed from both sides of the vehicle. And then the taxi driver is being pursued. Here it is.
Don't worry,
where are you going?
Drive fast. Fast, Uncle.
Yeah, follow me, my friend.
Drive fast. Uncle, I'm bleeding, isn't it? Drive fast.
My friend, they follow me. Tell me which should I go.
Go right. Go right, Uncle.
Right, yeah?
Yeah.
My friend, tell me which I have to go. Big boss, tell me which way to go.
Go straight, Uncle. I'll call police, don't worry. Uncle, I'm bleeding, Uncle.
They're still coming, my friend, here.
Uncle, go.
Brother, they already here, brother. I tell you, going somewhere, brother.
Ayo.
Brother.
Ayo, I'm getting ducked down. I just got bored.
They're behind me, brother.
Wallahi, bro. 1 second.
Brother, which way do I go, brother? Tell me.
Uncle, go police station.
I don't know who get to police station.
Go police station, uncle. I need the police. I'm getting followed. I'm getting followed by a car. Uncle, go straight, uncle.
To go. My car
Uncle, go straight, uncle. Miss, I'm getting followed by a car.
Brother, they're behind me, brother.
Yeah, I'm getting followed by a car, miss.
Brother,
they're behind me and they're following me. They tried to stop me.
Brother, they follow me.
Wow. Put up the picture full mass. This is a hell of a situation. I'm going to give you the background and some of the why. So a taxi driver in London went from laughing with 3 customers to nervously navigating the roads to save one of their lives. This was a knife fight that broke out. One of them jumped back into the car to avoid being stabbed to death. So a viral video shows the terrifying minutes. The driver went from smiling to praying as his car window was busted and one of his passengers begged him to drive fast while fighting off multiple attackers. When the video opens up, it shows the driver laughing with a trio of men. He tells one of them he's preparing to go home as they exit the vehicle. In the background, a white Mercedes pulls up and at least 3 other men wearing masks and hoodies jump out and begin chasing the men. The video surfaced approximately a month after several news outlets reported a man checked himself into the hospital with stab wounds the morning after residents told police they'd seen men with knives in the area of Spencer Road and New Road in Rainham on Sunday, June 23rd. According to the Havering Daily's coverage of the incident, a police spokesperson told them officers were called to the hospital about a man, quote, suffering what are believed to be stab injuries, but noted his condition was not life-threatening or life-changing. The spokesperson added that they were trying to verify whether the man was involved in the incident reported by residents the prior day, that no arrest had been made at that point. Users on social media chimed in with at least one person who reposted the video claiming the incident was gang-related and the man's 2 friends had been unalived in the attack. Quote, it was a gang-related fight. Report shows that they've gone to look for a consignment that was reportedly taken by then a rival gang on to walk into a trap. A user goes by the moniker Omash wrote on X. His 2 friends died of stab wounds while he managed to escape in the cab and take himself to the hospital. Another user said the fight was gang-related, but Omash was mistaken about the facts. Quote, this is complete misinformation. Yes, it was a gang-related attack, as I've seen the dude's Instagram, and he is definitely a gang member. But all of the other details you have stated have been completely fabricated. They responded, how you going to be a gang member then call the cops when you get caught up in gangster-ish? Someone else posed. Atlanta Black Star has not verified the truth of either claim, but other users chimed in with varying opinions on the driver's delayed response in pulling off. Police have responded to the video and noted they are aware of its existence and the investigation is still ongoing, according to a report by the Newham Recorder. Now, this is obviously a developing or at least a scenario in investigation or under investigation because there is no conclusive why or who or what or even if somebody is deceased or severely injured. As far as the driver is concerned, I give the driver grace here. He was in a situation he probably never expected to be in, and there's no telling what his adrenaline and shock was doing to his system at the moment. But the bottom line, that driver saved that young man's life. And I want to say this to the young man, put the picture back up. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you're in London or on Glenwood Road in Decatur, Georgia. If you're caught up in gang life, that's a very serious and dangerous game to be in. I was in that game myself. I'm thankful to God I survived it. Young man, God spared you. For whatever reason, you are alive. You are able to tell the story. Sometimes, as men, we have points of reflection. This is one of them for you. I encourage you to use it wisely. Ricky, thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm a gunshot victim, Dr. Richie. I was shot with a sawed-off 12 gauge at point blank range in '95, and I wasn't even in a gang. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, around the wrong people doing the wrong thing.
Wow. And
I'm telling you, it definitely changed my life. But right before that, I had an older man that used to cut my hair, Mr. Kelly, God rest his soul, pulled me to the side of the building, took me out of the barbershop one day. He said, "Hey man, that ain't your crowd." He said, I gave you your first haircut. I know your grandparents. He said, you don't run with people that's doing certain type of stuff. You need to change your surroundings. And probably a month later, I got shot. And I'm the thing about that incident, that driver should have pulled off instant. The minute that man jumped in that car to create some separation, but I think he panicked and just didn't know what to do. But thank God nobody died, because they could have killed the driver. They could have killed that guy that jumped back in. And this is what I'm saying, people, everybody out there, always check your surroundings or whatever. And travel, be real particular about who you hang with and who you travel with. Even if you know them, you don't know what they was into before they came to get with you. And somebody come looking for them to do something for them, but who always die in a situation like that? The innocent person that had absolutely nothing to do with it. We're living in some dangerous times, and you have to be careful as opposed to who you hang with.
Man, you make a really great point about situational awareness. I tell my daughter, keep your head on the swivel everywhere you go. Just always be aware.
Dr. Richie, real quick, they have classes for that. They have situational training. We was a household of 5, and 2 of us are gunshot victims, my daughter and I. And when I tell you, nobody knows how to walk out of a Target or a Walmart and walk to a car safely like me. And I can give you some classes. I can tell you, maybe we should do a show one day and talk about that. I can give you 100 tips on how to stay safe, because it's all in the details.
That's right.
In the details.
That's right. And when you adopt it, it's lifestyle. It becomes normal. It's not even a burden to you. Very thankful that the young man is alive. Thankful for the driver. He's alive. Thankful that they didn't go for the driver first in order to stop the driver from driving off. It's a whole lot of missed opportunity, but benefited, obviously, the ones who survived that attack. All right, we'll bring you updates if there's an update from London. Okay, firefighters going into homes, seeing Black people, seeing Black children, and leaving the Black children to die. That is the confession of a firefighter. Now, I'm going to give you the highlight, and then we'll get into the meat of the story. Here it is.
So for context, I drive trucks, and I stop at this Denny's to grab a coffee. As I'm walking to the bathroom, it's this old guy sitting to the left with about 12 people that's celebrating his 89th birthday. Sat down, ordered some food, so now I'm sitting like across from the guy that's celebrating his birthday. And everybody that basically came to celebrate with him had left, so now it's just him and his wife. So as I get up to go wash my hands, I see him and I give him a smile. I'm like, "Happy birthday, young man, 89. That's a lot of memory to have." And he said, "Well, thank you, young man." And he smiled and he kind of just stared at me. So I come back and his wife is gone. She's talking to some other lady that goes to the same church they do. And he sees me, he says, come here. And I said, "Yes." And he said, "There are way too many things that I wish I could forget." And I said, "Yeah, man, you make it to damn near 100 years old. I'm pretty sure you got a handful of regrets." And he looked at me with the most serious look ever and said, "You have no idea." He said, "I used to be a firefighter through the 60s and 70s. I said, "That's what's up. That's a very commendable job." And he said, "Yeah, it should be." He said the 60s and 70s was a different time in every way possible. You know that, right? And I'm just like, yeah, no. He said, "Back in those times, I was a way different man, and who knew that we'd get to the point where we are in society today, and I'd be feeling the way I'm feeling about the decisions that I made back in those times." So right before he took a very long pause, he looked at me and said, "Back in those times, it was very common for firefighters that looked like me to leave people that looked like you in burning houses and buildings and horrible situations just to say they couldn't get to us."
And that's not even the most chilling part of the confession. Here it is.
He said more times than he'd like to admit, he would hear screaming black people and children in burning buildings and houses and apartments and stores and cars, and he would literally just pretend he didn't hear it. He said his last time doing it was when he made eye contact with the baby that he deliberately went into a building to save and deliberately didn't. And he said that was the last time he did it, and he quit that year. He said the nightmare still hasn't stopped. He still hasn't forgiven himself, and therapy helps, but it's still a living nightmare to have those memories. When it came to firefighters, I never thought of them like that. Like when it came to like police officers, lawyers, and judges, and everybody else, we knew they didn't give a, especially police officers. But I don't know why that didn't click to me that, no, it was everybody that hated us. Everybody had a hand in deliberately making our lives worse. But it is something that I cannot think about for too long, because that visual of you fake going to save somebody and not saving them because of the color of their skin, and the entire 911 understanding because, oh yeah, you couldn't get Jamal. Oh well, just another one gone. Like,
chilling, but true. This is not the first time we have seen something like this. Obviously, this is a confession of someone who has been separated from the profession for many years. But it reminds me of in New York, when the Attorney General was speaking on behalf of the newly installed chaplain of the fire department, how white male firefighters booed her. And they had to be disciplined by command because this is outside of the allowed protocol of the honorable firefighters code. Put them up full mass. I'm glad you told this story, dear brother. Thank you for reminding us. Thank you for reminding us of the struggles we have overcome and some of the struggles we still face. What began as a typical trip to Denny's turned into a horrifying honesty hour for a black truck driver named Shamar Allion. Shamar connected with an 89-year-old white ex-firefighter who made this confession. The older man's regrets with his life and time as a firefighter were not only racist, but deadly. The video posted to TikTok back in October 2023 recently regained significant attention online. Eerily enough, this video came a year after Flint, Michigan mother Crystal Cooper sued the city and the fire department. Remember this? For the same claim. We covered it. Leaving her two black sons, 12-year-old Zaire Mitchell and 9-year-old Lamar Mitchell, for dead. Per the Daily Beast, two white firefighters left the children inside their burning home and lied about clearing the room they were stuck in. Each of the firefighters involved have since resigned. In 2021, the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission published this data based on CPSC staff estimate. Estimates for 2016 through 2018, there are about 360,000 home fires every year, leading to roughly 2,400 deaths. In addition, it is estimated that there are nearly 10,400 injuries per year. Research also shows that across all races, African Americans have the highest rate of fire deaths and injuries, nearly twice the overall death rate and more than twice the overall injury rate. According to CPSC's Residential Fire Loss Estimates report, although African Americans represent only 13% of the population, they represent an estimated 24% of the home fire deaths and 27% of the home fire injuries. The National Fire Protection Association similarly reported, compared to their share of the population, African Americans were roughly twice as likely to be killed or injured in a home fire in 2007 to 2011 per the reporting data as the overall population. The difference was even greater for children and older or elderly adults. The home fire death rate for African American children under 5, 14.6 deaths per million population, was 4 times the rate of 3.5 for white children of the same age. African American adults 65 and older had a home fire death rate of 56.6 0.3 deaths per million, 3 times the 17.7 rate of white older adults. Note these states were used to encourage preventative safety initiatives that departments could implement for their communities, 2021. From a broader structural perspective, another way public officials can target the disparity in fire-related deaths highlighted by the commission's report is by diversifying local fire departments. Based on 2019 workforce statistics from Data USA, more than 95% of firefighters were white male, and just under 80% were white and non-Hispanic. Do you understand what that article is saying? It's saying if you want to save more lives, you gotta stop having a primarily white male-dominated firefighting force, because for some reason, they end up saving the white babies and leaving the black ones. All right, Ricky, thoughts here?
I'm not surprised at all. And what they need to do is do a full investigation of all of these fire departments where whatever a lot of those stats come from, and they need to start doing some investigation on the paramedics as well.
Yeah,
you know
right.
what I'm saying? I cannot tell you the comfort that I had being in the back of an ambulance as a gunshot victim, to have a black fireman holding my hand, and I'll never forget it. It just gave me comfort. Then Dr. Richard, when I got in the ER, the doctor was talking to me. He was a white doctor, and I found myself explaining to him that I am a comedian and I work at the comedy club. It just explained to him I'm not in a gang, I'm not a drug dealer, or none of that stuff. I found myself explaining to him just where he could save my life while I had this big hole in my side. Like I really felt like they wasn't gonna really, get moving to save my life. That's what I felt. This was in '95. You understand? So they need to do a full investigation, because I am not shocked. When I hear stuff like that, I'm surprised. I would have been surprised if you would have read me some stats that was kind to our race, and how many lives that they really saved. Like, oh wow, you know what I'm saying? But that's not shocking to me. Yeah. I'm always shocked when people do what's right, but they really need to do an investigation on all the fire departments and make sure that all fire departments are diversified, and make sure that if anybody don't do their job, that they're held accountable, just like they hold other people accountable when they don't do what they're supposed to do in a life and death situation.
That's right. That's well said. And I will remind people that this is where diversity, equity, and inclusion save lives. Morehouse School of Medicine, I never forget, I was lecturing there a few years back, and this is when the report came out that showed, basically, I'm paraphrasing, but you can find the data, it was re-quoted on Dr. Oz show and a few others. But basically, if you're a black person, you have a white doctor, your mortality rate is quite different. You die faster. If you are a black person with a black doctor, however, you live longer. That is what the data showed. You cannot argue the data. These are facts. This is not an opinion or trajectory. This is what has happened, and they analyzed it. All right, we got more. On the other side is indisputable. Stick and stay. Indisputable exclusive, disputable exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
I got pulled in. They told me, hey, listen, Cenk, we're insiders. We are the establishment. People in Washington tell me that they're concerned about your tone. We think that there's a better role for you, and it's not in 6 o'clock. The problem with the mainstream media is they're desperate to get access. They don't challenge the government. They don't challenge power. We're supposed to challenge the government. That's the role of the media.
Components that corrupt our politicians, I think, also corrupt mainstream media. It's really difficult for cable outlets to talk about things like income inequality, wealth inequality, when the advertisers that are funding their shows are the same corporations that want to ensure that the same system continues. People watch digital media or new media, they get a completely different message. They focus on the issues that matter or resonate more with the constituency. We need to know one thing. Is the corporate media incompetent?
Corporate media, I can't hear you. Establishment press, where are you? I can't hear you. But the media's position I am clear on. Everything is pro-war, so everything is just framed that way. In this case, I mean, war is inevitable, right? I mean, the defense contractors should get a couple more $1 trillion. You ready for the stunning results? Only 6% of people say they have a great deal of confidence in the press. Wakey, wakey, okay? Progressives don't like the media either. You know why? It's the corporate media. Corporate media sounds like a conspiracy. Wait. Who owns you? Multi-billion-dollar corporations, public corporations. Right? You have to do corporate media because corporations own us. Yeah, that's how it works.
I really love what y'all do on the Young Turks, man, and it's a very refreshing, voice. Y'all don't lean to one side. I tell people all the time, if you want to go really hear what's going on honestly in our society, you should tune in to the Young Turks.
Thank you, Charlemagne. We appreciate that.
That's awesome. Really appreciate it, brother.
All right, welcome back. A lot of comments. Let me read some of these amazing comments. I want to say thank you to everyone who always decides to opine. All right. And don't forget to join. If you are watching on YouTube, just hit that join button. We would love to have you as an official member of the page. All right, so the Political Gemini says, I said on my Facebook story this morning, if you are in law enforcement and committed a crime, has been convicted of a crime, or have been fired from another law enforcement office, you should be barred from working in law enforcement in every precinct, in every state. It seems too much like right. That's right. It's like, yeah, you know, if you're working at Wendy's and you decide to do something to the food in order to harm a customer, you get fired from Wendy's. You know why? Because Wendy's has standards. And then if you try to apply to another Wendy's and they know you did that at the previous Wendy's, you don't get to work at the next Wendy's, because that next Wendy's, they have standards too. All right. Lynn, excellent question. The statement is from the female officer. Why aren't more officers speaking out? Why? We should be the first ones to speaking out against this. We failed. There you go. And Archie 15, she is exactly right. That cop was a killer looking for an opportunity. Yep. Twitch. Dr. Squiddies, if this cop doesn't get life in prison, there is no justice in the justice system. Our sentiments exactly. All right, I got something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
You're still free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Hello.
I'm sorry. You know what happened? I realized I left something at home.
Okay, you ran a red light back there.
No,
you
it
made
was green. It was green.
No. I was standing next to you. You ran a red light. You made a U-turn in front of all these cars, all the way from the right lane, and you almost struck the fire truck. Let me get your driver license, ma'am.
Okay.
You got your insurance?
Yeah.
Insurance?
It's safe to do it.
It was not safe.
Yes,
it's safe. You're not going to tell me when it's safe or not, ma'am. That's my job.
Let me go home. I'm sorry.
Let me get your insurance. Thank you.
Just look at it. You don't have to take it. I have insurance.
No, give me your insurance. You're not going to tell me you look at it.
I showed you it.
Okay, you're going to get a ticket for no insurance because I didn't see the ticket.
I have insurance. I showed it to you. Please, I'm in a hurry to get home. Please, could I have my license?
No, ma'am. Let me get your insurance. Put your car on park.
No, sir. Give me the ticket and let me go.
Okay, hang tight then. You can't take off the stop. Don't take off the stop.
Give me the ticket and let me go.
Wait! Give me your keys.
No!
Turn off your car!
Give me the ticket and let me go home! Give me the ticket and let me go home!
Step out of the car.
No!
Step out of the car! Subject to cop.
No. What? No busted window? No pulling the passenger out of the vehicle? I'll put up the picture full mass here. She was taken off from you from jump. She already ran 3 times. When she ran the red light, after she was pulled over and stopped, she decided to start leaving again. That's another one. And then when you went and approached the vehicle, sir, she took off on you again. And that's when you started saying, get out of the vehicle. She did not show you or provide you with the insurance card. She flashed it and said that was enough for you. Now, I have to ask this question. If that would have been a black woman rather than a white woman, would you have responded the exact same way? We already know you definitely would not have responded that way if it was a black male. We already know that answer. But I am questioning, if that was a black female doing the same thing, here's insurance card, you saw it, that's it, I gotta go home. Do you keep negotiating? Well, I'm gonna write you a ticket for no insurance. Really? That's what happens when you do that? You just get a ticket for no insurance? All right, so we don't have a whole lot of details. I'm looking for more details about this. Obviously, the Karen runs away from the police here, and he calls it in. No telling what kind of jokes happened at the department, back at the precinct, because he let a Karen get away from him. Looks to be a up in age, Karen, at that. But Ricky, here's the thing. When you don't treat individuals fairly, like we already know what would have happened if this would have been a person of color acting the same way, already almost hit a fire truck, according to the cop, ran the red light, did an illegal U-turn, tried to run away from him twice or 3 times, and then not showing insurance, not being cooperative. The list goes on. And he remained patient until the end. What say you?
Yeah, she's probably not going to get charged with anything, probably because she knows somebody who knows somebody.
Right. But, she was acting like it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a shame that Philando Castile and Sandra Bland was not given that same courtesy. They would still be alive.
That's right.
And you said it. You were on point. If they was black, they would be dead. He would have pumped so many bullets into that car before you could, just for pulling off. I just think that it's sad. It's unfair, and that's why police need more training. They need more. That's why black folks mad. That's why we mad. We see videos like that, and every time I get pulled over, the officer have to literally tell me, "Sir, you can relax. Like you can really, really, really relax. I understand how you feel." White officers tell me, "I understand. I get it." He said, "You can relax. You're good." You know what I'm saying? Because they my heart is beating. I don't know how this is going to end. Because I'm on the side of the road. But that right there, had she been black, she would be dead. Period.
And we've seen it. Like this is a conjecture. We've seen it happen before. All right. We'll bring you updates if we could get more information about what happened in that jurisdiction. But here's what happened with Elon Musk. You see, Elon Musk, the alleged genius and billionaire, well, he decided to share a completely made up deep fake story about Kamala Harris. Here it is.
I, Kamala Harris, am your Democrat candidate for president because Joe Biden finally exposed his senility at the debate. Thanks, Joe. I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist. I may not know the first thing about running the country, but remember, that's a good thing if you're a deep state puppet. I had 4 years under the tutelage of the ultimate deep state puppet, a wonderful mentor, Joe Biden. Joe taught me rule number 1, carefully hide your total incompetence. I take insignificant things and I discuss them as if they're significant. And I believe that exploring the significance of the insignificant is in itself significant. Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time, and there is such great significance to the passage of time. Another trick is trying to sound black. I pretend to celebrate Kwanzaa, and in my speeches, I always do my best Barack Obama impression. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And okay, look, maybe my work addressing the root causes of the border crisis were catastrophic, but my knowledge of international politics is truly shocking. The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. It is an alliance that is strong and enduring. And just remember, when voting this November, it is important to see what can be, unburdened by what has been. And by what has been, I mean Joe Biden. You think the country went to over the past 4 years? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Gillette. All right, shared by Elon Musk, once again showing his true colors. Let's put up the picture full mass here. I'm going to give you some background. It's been less than a week, ladies and gentlemen. I know it seems like it's been more, but it's been less than a week since VP Kamala Harris decided she would run for the office instead of Joe Biden. And her biggest critic, you probably would guess, is Elon Musk. The billionaire tech giant is diving into dangerous waters, however, posting a video that mimics the VP voice without disclosing it has been altered, which is a rule. It's a big no-no to do this and not disclose, hey, this is actually fake, but you know it's funny. Or, hey, this video is AI generated. Or the video has been altered for the sake of comedic purposes, whatever it may be. He decided not to do that. So the clip was also edited to remove images of former President Donald J. Trump and his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, and to add images of Biden. The original unaltered ad was released last Thursday. So creator, Mr. Reagan USA, does note that the video is parody in his caption. Musk does not, saying, quote, "This is amazing," with a laughing, crying emoji. His post directly contradicts his own policies for the platform, which prohibits sharing, quote, synthetic, manipulated, or out of context media that may deceive or confuse people and lead to harm. Elon has already been widely panned. Quote, "This is a violation of X's policies on synthetic media and misleading identities. Are you going to retroactively change them to allow violations in an election year? And, quote, manipulating a voice in an ad like this one should be illegal. I'll be signing a bill in a matter of weeks to make sure it is, Governor Newsom." Elon promptly and crudely responded to Newsom. So here it is. I checked with renowned world authority, Professor Sargon Dees. And he said parody is legal in America. He went to the D's response. Sir, we haven't said that since 98, sir. You got to keep up here, genius, Elon Musk. This isn't Musk's first time or first jab at the current vice president. There are more opportunities, obviously. And it's obviously not his first time being racist, bigoted, and even sexist. So, quote, "We are effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives, et cetera, et cetera." Elon originally vowed to stay out of this race, if you recall. But obviously, he endorsed Trump following the assassination attempt last month. You know who else endorsed Trump? Hulk Hogan. Did you see that? I used to be a Hulkamaniac, man. This is really disappointing. But these guys aren't right. These guys aren't going to move a damn needle at all. They're just talking to themselves. They're talking to their base. More power to them. Elon Musk is not about to pull or push anybody in the middle or on the left. This is going to be interesting, Ricky, because he violates his own rules. Because he's a billionaire, he can do that. He sets rules in order to break them. He knows that some people are going to simply believe what they see first and never check to see if it is a fact or not. That's the world we live in today. He understands these things. So he knows what he's doing. He's manipulating the massive base he currently has. And while he can talk about what is considered parody, you have to represent it as parody. If you don't represent it as parody, then there are laws that can regulate the speech that you provide, just like there are laws that regulate speech that's out of threat, terroristic threat, et cetera. Those dynamics can be regulated by law. Okay, thoughts here?
Yeah, my thoughts is the fact that they had to write a script in order to try to tear down Kamala Harris. Yeah. We can take all original audio all the way and go all the way back from even before 2016, starting with the 5 young men that you got thrown in jail in New York with all of the scams and stuff that Donald Trump has been doing for decades. And it would be so easy for us to put together a 60-second or 2-minute clip of Donald Trump. Nobody, the fact that he had to use her voice and AI, wherever you call it, and write and create a script and create and say things that's not true or whatever, but we can run the same thing on just truth alone.
Yep.
With Donald J. Trump, truth alone, and they just doing whatever they can do, and it's going to get worse because she got momentum. She raised over $200 million, and she is at a dead heat and leading in about 6 swing states.
Yep.
And she haven't even picked the VP yet, and I think that we got some good momentum. And more like that, do not be surprised to see stuff like that. It's going to be more and more racist, more sexist, and worse. But people like me and you, Dr. Richie, it just get us mad and get us going and get us working harder, get us going in our pockets, writing checks, making donations to make sure that she becomes the next president of the United States of America and member of Divine Nine. That's right. I must say.
That's
Kamala
right.
Harris, let's go.
That's right. And like President Obama said, don't boo, vote. There it is.
That's right.
All right. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
Indisputable, exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
Today we're going to be speaking with Cenk Uygur, host of The Young Turks and also author of the new book, Justice is Coming.
Author of the brand new book that we have here, Justice is Coming.
How progressives are going to take over the country and America is going to love it.
His new book is out now, Justice is Coming.
Cenk Uygur, he's got a book out.
I encourage every progressive and non-progressive to read it.
Very interesting, very thought-provoking.
2 main ideas. 1, that progressives are correct on these kind of policy issues. And 2, America is actually a very progressive country.
And it's a powerful read.
This will be banned in Florida. By the way, that would be kind of awesome. There's no question we're going to win in the long run. The country's that progressive.
You have given me hope, Cenk.
I do see you as a voice of reason on the left, and I hope people will check out your book.
It's for outsiders, and it's for progressives and populists that are looking to overthrow this system.
You need this book in your house.
They tell you that change is not possible, hope is not possible, justice is not possible. Do not believe their lies. Change always wins. And then we take off like a rocket. tyt.com/justice.
All right, welcome back. Remarkable woman, remarkable legacy. A woman, 88 years of age, celebrated. Celebrated because she raised 40 children. Foster mom. All right, put up the picture full mass. Fascinating human being. In Maryland, Montgomery County honors Emma Patterson, 88-year-old foster mom who raised over 40 children. She is now retiring. Patterson is what could be called a super foster mom. She started taking children in the early 1980s. Over the past 4 decades, she raised more than 40 foster children. It began when her biological children started bringing home friends who needed food or a place to stay. Quote, "I was raised in a home where I was just loved and adored by my parents," Patterson said. So for a child to experience that, not to have someone to love you and care for you and nurture you, I just felt awful. Madison Scott was 5 months old when she came to Patterson's home. She now plays basketball at the University of Mississippi. Quote, "I wouldn't be here without Nana," Scott said. "She took my mom in and took me in, treated us like we were her own. She loved us. She cared for us. She's done everything," end quote. It was a great experience for Patterson's birth children and grandchildren too, seeing all the hugs and tears at a celebration for Emma Patterson. The enormous impact the foster mom had on the lives of others in Montgomery County is obvious. Montgomery County has more than 300 kids in care and about 115 foster families. More fosters are needed. To help, you can reach out to Child Welfare Services at 240-770-1664. Let's put up this amazing woman again. I want to say thank you. Thank you to Miss Emma Patterson. And thank you to everyone who decides to take in a child that they did not biologically birth. I want to say thank you to Ricky Smiley, who does the exact same thing. I want to say thank you to the foster parents that took me in when nobody else would. I'm thankful for people like you. And I wanted to do this segment with you, dear brother, because as soon as I saw this story, I thought about the black men who do the same. And you are one of them. I've taken in children who are not biologically mine because somebody took me in. I have seen you take in children and take care of children that are not biologically yours while taking care of the ones that are. And so I celebrate all of you all, dear brother. I celebrate Miss Patterson. I celebrate you.
Yeah, Dr. Richie, I really appreciate that. Sometimes God allow us to go through things and work through us. Sometimes God allowed me to experience losing a father and burying my father to make sure that I was a father to the fatherless. You understand? And it's so important that we get outside of the box and love on somebody and give somebody a chance. You know, I feel like God protected me. If it was not for a coach, a deacon, a pastor, a Sunday school teacher, certain men, uncles that took me in and cared for me, I would not be the man that I am. And it's time for me to get back, because I know what it feels like to grow up without a father. And to every child that and we have to also understand, Dr. Richard, it's a controversial part. We can do a whole show on this. Everybody is not going to appreciate it. But man, if you take on 20 kids, 3 of them going to come back and they're going to smile at you and they're going to say thank you and they're going to make you proud. And it's worth those 3. It's a lot of disappointment that comes with some of this stuff. It ain't just easy taking people in because there's jealousy, there's people undermining the process and what you're trying to accomplish with the kids, all of that. But man, when you see them walk across that stage and just watching them just become something, and you had everything that had something and a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
When you sit down at dinner like I did last night with a nephew and a niece that I took in down here in South Florida, and they pay for the food and they look at you and say, "Hey, we just really appreciate you." And the niece was a kid that lived upstairs that didn't have a dad and don't have no family but us. And the nephew is one that I took in that was on my reality show, and they both are doing well and making money and took me out to dinner yesterday. And those are the things. That's rich, not the dollar amount, but that's rich. And that brings me so much joy, you know? So I just thank God for people like Miss M. I thank God for people like yourself and everybody that makes sacrifices taking in people because it's not easy. It's cute. It's cute at first, but when they get 15, 16, 17, you're gonna go through some stuff and you're gonna make some personal sacrifices, some heartache and heartbreak to get to your goal. So we just thank God for everybody that step outside of the box to care about somebody else because it's not about you.
That's right. So well
that's what
said.
It's all about. It's not all about you. Thank you for letting me say that.
Absolutely, man. So well said, brother. I said something on my radio show this morning about your pain is where your light is. And I've noticed that everything that I've overcome in pain, I've become a light to somebody who's experiencing that same pain. If I was never homeless, I couldn't have light for the unsheltered. If I was never in foster care, I could not have light for those who are in foster care the same way. And if I never experienced gang life, I may not have the same light for those who are currently in gang life. And so your pain is where your light is. Thank you, dear brother. I appreciate all you do, my friend. Until next time. All right.
Thank you, man. God bless you. Thank you for having me.
God bless you. Rick Smiley Morning Show. Make sure you check him out every morning. We got more on the other side. Indisputable. Stick and stay.
I'm wearing one of our pieces of merchandise. So the funny thing about the Dragon Squad, and that's what our viewers call themselves. That's the name of the group, but every individual chooses their own name. You might have Cincinnati Dragon. You might have Harry Potter Dragon. We have a Grandma Sunshine Dragon is one of those that I remember. These are people that like to have an element of themselves, their lives, what's significant to them reflected as a part of the community. But the concept of the Dragon Squad is just something I threw away as a joke. I was mocking the Proud Boys, these like right-wing groups that come up with a name for themselves that they think is cool, but it's actually really lame. And I thought, off the top of my head, I can come up with something that's still kind of lame, but much cooler. And so I threw out Dragon Squad and I just moved on with my life. But everybody liked it, and so they kept it going, and so we've embraced it. And I think again, this was during the period of the pandemic. I think it was sort of nice to have a renewed sense of community, a feeling that you're a part of something when everything seems so chaotic. And as a result of that, we've got independent artists online streaming, making beautiful digital art of dragons. We've got, we've released a number of pieces of merchandise that people love sending us photos of them. And then, by the way, for me personally, people send me, like you can probably see in the background, like a knitted dragon someone sent me. There's a dragon book they sent me, dragon board games they send me. People have done like custom ironworks, making dragon bottle openers. Like the fans are super invested in diamond art and things like that. And so it's great that they send this stuff. Sometime we're gonna have to set up a wall of all of it. But yeah, it's definitely brought the community a lot closer together. The fact that we were no longer in this big studio, I felt a lot more personally attached to people. It felt very immediate. And I know that I personally needed the connection.
All right, welcome back. Okay, well, I'm gonna read a few comments and then get right into it. I appreciate everyone for joining the convo. Adrian Aspicia, this is wild. Doc, if it were a black or brown female, she would have been shot at. This is just ridiculous. It really is. And he gave her every opportunity. And notice the approach. He was respectful after she almost hit a fire truck, made an illegal U-turn, decided to basically flee. He was still very respectful. If you get pulled over for simply speeding, they interrogate you like you done killed somebody. But this woman got every break and every courtesy possible. All right, and yep. Cast and Dragon, amazing. No taser or gun was pulled. He didn't even think about it. He completely forgot he had a gun and taser. All right. Okay. Trump says, in 4 years, America won't have to ever vote again anyway. Here it is.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed, it'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You gotta get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not gonna have to vote. That we're going to give immunity to police so they can do their job. I'm giving federal immunity to police officers so they can do their job.
Yeah, federal immunity to police officers, and you won't have to vote again. That is a disaster. Understand these are policy dynamics. These are policy directives. And then J.D. Vance, the vice presidential running mate of Donald Trump, something resurfaced. Here it is.
I think that the thing that we have to take away from the last 10 years is that we really need to be really ruthless when it comes to the exercise of power. The challenge confronting American conservatives is that we have lost every major powerful institution in the country, except for maybe churches and religious institutions, which of course are weaker now than they've ever been. We have lost big business, we've lost finance, we've lost the culture, we've lost the academy. And if we're going to actually really affect real change in the country, it will require us completely replacing the existing ruling class with another ruling class. I say that knowing and hearing myself, it sounds really hard. It is really hard, but I don't think there's like a detent with these people. I don't think there's sort of a compromise that we're gonna come with the people who currently actually control the country. Unless we overthrow them in some way, we're gonna keep losing.
These people, overthrow them, ruthless. He didn't say strong institutions. He didn't say build coalitions. Learn to work together. Negotiate across the aisle. All right, so Trump's objectives for the criminal justice system, let's get into it. So during Trump's time in office, he threatened to bring the National Guard into major cities to quell violence and risk dangerously escalating tensions and exposing peaceful protesters to excessive or deadly force. He also encouraged the militarization of the police by rescinding President Barack Obama's executive order limiting the distribution of military-grade weapons to state, local, and federal law enforcement agencies. According to Trump's campaign, quote, "There is no higher priority than quickly restoring law and order and public safety in America." But just as it was during President Richard Nixon's 1968 campaign against the war on drugs, law and order under a second Trump administration is a shorthand message promising repression of the Black community. Specifically, Trump's law enforcement policies call for further protections for abusive police, including condoning the use of force against protesters, which he once described as a beautiful thing to watch. This rhetoric risks encouraging state actors to take a similarly brutal approach. Beyond rhetoric, however, Trump is also likely to immediately rescind President Joe Biden's 2022 executive order on policing. Doing so would eviscerate one of the most substantial federal actions on police reform since George Floyd's murder and roll back important changes to use of force standards, including restrictions on chokeholds and carotid restraints. These expected policies will have an outsized impact on marginalized communities, especially the Black community, which is far more likely to experience police abuse. We also know that a second Trump administration intends to deputize local law enforcement to aid in unprecedented mass deportation that would decimate communities. Additionally, Trump has promised that if reelected, his administration will accelerate mass incarceration efforts by directing federal prosecutors to seek the most serious charges and maximum sentences, pressuring local prosecutors to take a similarly draconian approach and reincarcerating thousands of people on home confinement currently. His administration will also expand the use of the death penalty despite America's increasing opposition to death penalty capital punishment by broadening the category of crimes punishable by death, sentencing more people to die, and killing every person on federal death row pretty much immediately. And remember, a number of individuals have been found completely innocent of the crimes that they have been accused and convicted of, but serving a death row sentence for. This is the reality of ruthless that J.D. Vance is talking about. Now, why is J.D. Vance the vice presidential running mate? It is not because Trump wanted him. No, that's not why. It is not because he's good friends with Trump. Remember, he called Trump Hitler. Just a few years ago, he said, basically, Trump is everything wrong with American politics. J.D. Vance is there because if for some reason Trump is no longer there, J.D. Vance will still carry out this insane agenda. And also, if Trump actually decides not to run for president again, if he gets the presidency, you got a J.D. Vance who's going to pass the baton of policy for those who have orchestrated this darkness in American politics. So that's your reality. If you vote for Trump, you cannot argue with me ever about loving democracy. If you vote for Trump, you cannot argue with me or debate points about saving America, or you love the Constitution, or even you being a fiscal conservative. All of these arguments go out of the door. You really can't even argue the moral, ethical line that you typically would bring to the table of debate. What do you have? You have nothing. You just have MAGA. All right. A cop assaults 19-year-old lying on the floor of an airport. Here it is.
Stop kicking people. You don't camera. Why is he oh, leave him. Move back. Shut up. Move back. Oh, move back. Move back. Say, move back. Move back. Shut up, move back.
This was a Greater Manchester cop. There's closed caption television that provides context for what led to the viral clip. Here it is. So brutal. Per BBC News, the 19-year-old has been left traumatized, according to the family. This person was kicked, stomped on by the police officer at Manchester Airport. Ahmed Yaqub in the center. The lawyer representing them has said Yaqub is representing brothers Mohammed Fahir Amaz and Ahmad Amaz, who were both involved in the incident along with two other men and were arrested on suspicion of assault. All four men were bailed out. Yaqub said the medical condition of Fahir, who had been kicked, had worsened overnight, and a CT scan had revealed there is a cyst on his brain. The lawyer also revealed the brothers were family members of a serving GMP officer. Footage shared online shows the Greater Manchester Police GMP firearms officer, who has since been suspended, striking Fahir twice as he lay prone on the floor. The agency said the officer's actions had come after he and other colleagues were violently attacked, according to the report. It has nothing to do with the people they decided to attack. However, GMP reported that the July 23rd incident occurred after officers tried to arrest someone in the airport's Terminal 2 following a fight. A police spokesperson noted a, quote, clear risk of their weapons being taken, and 3 officers were hospitalized, one with a broken nose. The force acknowledged the deep concerns raised by the community. The incident led to 2 nights of protest and a protest in Manchester City after the clip was shared on social media. So the 30-second clip shows a group of people standing around a ticket machine in a car park at Terminal 2. 3 police officers, 1 male and 2 female, restrained a man wearing a matching light blue top and shorts. A second man wearing a black t-shirt circles the male officer and appears to begin to attack him. The pair then seem to begin punching one another while the first man hits the 2 female officers multiple times in a clip obtained by the Manchester Evening News. The man in the black t-shirt is tased by the officer, male officer, at which point the second man looks to have knocked the 2 officers down and proceeds to punch the male officer in the back of the head. After the male officer and the first man wrestling to the ground, he appears to be tased by the female officers. The male officer gets up and appears to kick the man in the head, which is where the video ends. The original video appeared to show officer then stomp on the head of the man. So per the Independent, Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham said after the release of the new footage, this is a complicated situation with 2 sides to it, and urged people not to rush to judgment. The mayor expressed frustration about not releasing more video due to the live investigation. He urged the public to allow the Independent Office for Police Conduct's criminal probe into the officer's conduct and the parallel GMP investigation into other potential offenses to proceed, and that it would not be appropriate to comment further. The mayor said there were 3 stages to the incident, with a prior dispute taking place on a plane before the footage seen by the public. He told Sky News on Sunday, quote, "It's a complicated situation, a very violent situation, actually, and there were issues on both sides. That's why I asked other people not to rush to judgment because of the complexity of it. Simply, everyone who's having their say, nobody has got all the facts. Nobody is in possession of the complete picture." The IOPC said on Friday the Greater Manchester police officer had been advised he was under now criminal investigation for assault. An officer was served with a disciplinary notice to inform him he was being investigated for potential gross misconduct for a number of alleged breaches of police professional standards, including use of force, a spokesperson said. Put up the picture of the mayor again. I'm going to remind you of a quote the mayor said that really should nail it. The mayor said, "It is a complicated situation, a very violent situation, and there were issues on both sides." Okay, good. Well, one side you cannot regulate, the other one you are in charge of. It's called the police. So if you're saying that there were issues on both sides, you are admitting that there were issues on your side, the police that you command. Let's stop playing this game. The individuals did not take an oath to do a damn thing for you or for that government, but those cops did. It is not the same. They are supposed to uphold the law, act professionally, enforce the customary rule and law. Your job is to govern them. All right. We'll bring you updates as they come. This, once again, big ups to Ricky Smiley. He did leave a little bit early. We're very thankful for his continued leadership and legacy. Remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.